Welcome to this special edition of the New Stack Makers on the Road. We're here in KubeCon North America in
Detroit Rock City!
Discussions from the show floor with technologists giving you their expertise and insights to help you with your everyday work. Dell Technologies is a unique family of businesses that help organizations and individuals build their digital future and transform how they work, live, and play. The company provides customers with the industry's broadest and most innovative technology and services portfolio, spanning from edge to core to cloud.
Hi there, and welcome to another on-the-road episode of the New Stack Makers podcast. I'm your host, Heather Joslin, features editor at the New Stack, and we're here today coming to you from KubeCon and Cloud Native Con North America here in Detroit, the Motor City. We're talking today about developer relations, or DevRel to its friends, and taking a look at how one company, Dell, is building a DevRel team and how that team is working to connect DevOps to the work of enterprises. Where does DevOps stand with regard to large companies? How is infrastructure as code maturing, and what's next? We're joined by Brad Maltz, Senior Director of the DevOps Portfolio and DevRel at Dell. Hi,
Yep.
Hi, Brad.
Hi.
And we'd like to give a thanks today to our sponsor for today's podcast. That is our friends at Dell Technologies. So let's dive in. My first question to you is, you're starting a DevRel team at Dell. How did that begin, and how's it going?
Yeah, so basically from a Dell perspective, we've looked at it through the lens of our existing customer base is very ops-centric. Server admin, system admin, and with the whole DevOps movement in the industry, really trying to create the new culture, the new operating model, what we realized is our end users have been trying to figure out how to become infrastructure developers. They've been trying to figure out how do they use infrastructure as code, Kubernetes, cloud, all those things. And what that means is we need to be able to speak to them where they want to go, when they want to become those developers. And that's really what led us to say, you know what, we need to build out a developer relations program with lead developer advocates. And in doing that, we need to grow out the community and really help our end users get to where they want to go.
Okay. Were you at Dell before building this team, or were you?
So I've actually been at Dell for 8 years. I came in through the EMC acquisition.
Okay. And what have been your first? So you're starting a DevRel team from scratch. What are your first tasks in doing that?
So there's a few things. First of all, there's two ways of building a DevRel team. One way is to actually kind of go and try to home grow people on the inside and get them more presence in the community. That's the slower road, really good for the scale out. But we decided, you know what, we have to go and find industry influencers that believe in our cause, that believe in the problem space that we live in. And that's really how we started this, is we went out to find some very, very strong top talent in the industry and bring them on board. I've already brought 3 out of the 4 on board that I'm actually going to be hiring. They're here at KubeCon with us. And now we're going to add a 4th one by the end of the year.
So you're really on a fast tracking. When did you start this?
Beginning of August.
Wow, that is fast.
I've gotten a lot of kudos for the hiring speed that we actually can do.
That is, some recruiters might want to talk to you about your seat to learn your secrets. Let's pull back the lens a little bit and take a broader look at the industry. First of all, how do you define DevOps? And I've heard a lot of different definitions.
Yep.
How do you define DevOps?
Yeah, so DevOps to us is really, it's an operating model. It's a culture. It's not a person. It's not a group. And what I mean by that is when you look at what DevOps' originally intent was, it's to try to get the developers in the company to really align in a more agile fashion to the operators in the company or systems admins. And where it's morphed into is 2 things. It's taken the agile practices of software development and tried to make systems administrators more agile by the operating model. The second thing that DevOps has really done is it's helped to actually redefine the roles of the folks that are in that DevOps kind of world. And the 2 roles that we actually play off of traditionally are SRE and platform engineer. Those are the 2 that we believe are in the DevOps world. The reality is application developers don't want to shift left. They don't want to operate. They want somebody else to take it, and they want to keep developing. So where DevOps has transitioned for us is how do we help those people that are kind of that operator turning into infrastructure developer fit into that DevOps culture.
So that's a sweet spot, sort of
It's
operations
a total
admin.
sweet spot.
Okay. Say you said the magic words platform engineering, which we've heard a lot at this
Especially
conference.
here.
Especially here, yes. Where does what you're doing fit in with platform engineering
Good
specifically?
question. So when I break down what a platform engineering team is meant to do, in the DevOps kind of operating model, there's this notion of the golden path or the paved road, right? And the notion is developers in the wild are able to use any tool on any cloud with any language, and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
That's hard to support. That's where DevOps got introduced and was to basically say, hey, we're going to put you into a little bit of a box. Just enough of a box that we can start to gain control and get ahead of the game. The platform engineering team, in this case, they're the ones in charge of that box. They're the ones that have to drive that golden path paved road. They got to make sure that the automations are in place, the tooling is in place, the pipeline's there, and that they can meet the needs of their development community.
Last few years, we've been seeing the sort of the infrastructure as code space evolve and mature. We've heard about GitOps, and there's DevOps and GitOps and XOps, and as an umbrella term for all that.
Yep.
If I'm running teams, running IT infrastructure, where do I start with all this and all this?
Yeah, good question. So the answer to start is not to just go start building. That's the wrong answer.
Yeah.
The first answer is to understand the problems you want to deal with or are trying to deal with. So I always tell teams that you have to take a step back. You have to understand your processes and procedures within your current IT organization. You also have to understand it in the developers organization, because those processes and procedures that you're trying to learn about and document really well, that's where the tooling comes in. You have to start saying, okay, we've been doing this task 1,000 times a month, and we spend 10 people resources on this. Why don't we automate that? And even if it's a simple automation that isn't fully artificial intelligence, AI ops oriented yet, but it's just we're going to build the automation and we got to manage the automation. You might reduce 10 people doing it 1,000 times manually to one person that has to go and update it 10 times a month. That's the beginning of understand your problems, the processes and procedures, and then basically start figuring out what tooling can apply to help solve that problem.
Okay. And also, I mean, the saying that every technology problem is a people problem at its core. Like what part of the DevRel vision that Dell has is what part of it is the tools and technology? What part of it is how much of it is culture and like learning, teaching people how to redo their culture?
Under my kind of leadership, I have two parts of the program. I have the DevRel team, but I also have our DevOps portfolio, which is my product management half. And we're actually unique in the fact of, in Dell, we decided to put DevRel into product management on the product side, not marketing. The reason we did that was we want the DevRel folks to really focus on community contributions, education, all that stuff. But while they're doing that, their job is to bring the data back from those discussions they're having in the field back to product management to enable our tooling to be able to satisfy some of those problems that they're bringing back so we can start going full circle. So in this world, DevRel for me is community, it's culture, and contribution are really the big things that we're looking for from DevRel. And overlaying all that is education. Their job will be to help educate our end users on everything from operating models to technologies and use case-based discussions.
And so how are you sort of spreading the word? Is it like, you obviously come to conferences like this, but what are some of the other things
conferences like this are the starting point? Social media. So part of the reason I mentioned we're hiring some industry influencers is to help them through social media kind of get the Dell message out. We also have a website, developer.dell.com, which will be the landing page going forward for all of these conversations. It'll be our Dell-oriented community mixed with all of our training, our hands-on labs. It'll be mixed in with how-to videos, our API marketplace. We're trying to make it so that when you have a question, over time, people get educated to go to this one spot. You know where to go.
Okay, so that's developer.
Developer.dell.com.
Okay, great. So, what are some of other parts of the Dell portfolio you feel are relevant to the case of enterprise DevOps?
So when I break down the DevOps problem, I'm going to break it into two pieces. There's the automation side of the house
Mm-hmm.
slash observability, kind of the tooling and stuff up there.
Yeah.
You then have the container and Kubernetes side, right?
Okay.
Because one of the enablers for DevOps finally is a common abstraction across the public cloud and on premises.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Kubernetes.
Mhm.
So now that Kubernetes kind of is one, I'll say in this case,
Yeah.
what we're looking at now is we have something called container storage modules, or CSM.
Mhm.
Our container storage modules are open source. They're available to anybody out in the industry through GitHub. They sit on top of the CSI drivers for Kubernetes. And that's the type of enabler that we're driving through our DevOps portfolio that allows our platform engineers and SRE folks to really manage and automate our storage natively up through Kubernetes primitives, through things like kubectl and whatnot, so you don't have to go to element managers to manage storage provisioning, snapshotting, replication, security, encryption, all those things.
Mhm.
So when we look at our portfolio, again, IAC, the infrastructure as code half, and then we have the container half.
Okay. Is there anything new on the horizon that you want to, either coming from Dell or just in general, that you think is going to be influential in this space?
Yeah, there's two programs. One of them was actually launched at Dell Tech World this year in May of this year.
Yep.
And that was something we call Project Alpine. Project Alpine is actually where we believe that our customers that consume our storage today, they have a desire for our storage even in the public cloud for certain use cases.
Mhm.
So Project Alpine is about making data and storage more seamless between the public cloud and on premises.
Mhm.
That's where Project Alpine is going to help a lot of these platform engineers, SREs, and DevOps communities.
Mhm.
The second thing, and we just announced this a few weeks ago, is strengthening our partnership with Red Hat,
Mhm.
is being able to deliver more OpenShift-oriented kind of solutions and appliances to market, to be able to say, when you have a shop that has chosen Red Hat with OpenShift as their go-to,
Mhm.
they can get an experience that is, hey, I want the full stack. I don't even want to have to go deal with the low-level stuff. I just want it out of the box working.
Uh-huh.
Or I want you to tell me how to do that really, really simplistically through solutions and reference architectures. That partnership's going to, again, help drive those DevOps cultures a little further into that OpenShift Dell type mentality.
I wanted to circle back to something you said about developers don't want to shift left. That they're
Yep.
like, it does seem like shift left was the buzzword maybe even like a year ago.
Yep.
Is shift left dead? I mean, it does seem like they're that whole.
I'd put shift left on the proverbial hype cycle.
Okay.
I think it had this, hey, it's this thing, and now the industry is going to define it. And it's finally hit a point where it means something. It's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
People are like, but I'm not really ready to do it yet because it's not working, or we're not there operationally as a company or even in thought yet.
Yeah.
So I don't believe shift left is dead. The concept is alive. I don't think people are at the maturity level to really be able to implement what its original context was. And I think that will take a few more years of maturity within these DevOps operating models and other things that are coming down the road.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being with us today, Brad. I really appreciate you joining us. And I just want to thank all of you for joining us, and thank our sponsor, Dell Technologies. And this has been Heather Joslin for the New Stack Makers. And we'll see you next time.
If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on all the major social media platforms. You can always find us at thenewstack.io. We hope to see you soon.